Welcome everyone to this fourth 100 Days of No Code demo day. So really excited to have another one of these and just basically see you all and yeah, get some really good inspiration from everyone's projects tonight. So firstly, as I always do, I know that the audience is made up mostly of people that know what the hell this space is, but I also want to make sure that for those that don't know, just to go over like what no code is and where kind of 100 days of no code fits into that. So I'm going to quickly just tackle no code first, and then I'll move into 100 days. So basically there are multiple definitions of no code, from creating software without code to tools that make building websites, apps and software simple. The bottom line is now anyone can build their ideas because no code has essentially democratized software creation. So just as phones gave rise to citizen journalists, we're now seeing the dawn of citizen developers. But basically what this means in like super plain English is that we can actually now create websites, apps and software regardless of whether we're technical or non-technical. So at 100 days of no code, our mission is to unleash that first batch of citizen developers and entrepreneurs. And by being part of this, we can fundamentally change like who builds the tech that shapes our everyday lives, opening up a world with more diverse problem solvers, more inclusive digital spaces, and of course, more accessible careers into tech. So, and the part where 100 days of no code kind of plays in all this is being the most accessible and supportive community to learn and build with no code. So we do this by being intentionally affordable, inclusive to anyone with a passion for learning and making change, and of course, beginner friendly. But how do we actually transform a complete non-techie into an entrepreneur that can finally bring their ideas to life? So we first give people a super simple but powerful framework to live by, and that is doing 30 minutes of no code learning a day for 100 days, every day compounding on top of the next. Secondly, we connect learners on the same journey together, providing accountability and inspiration. And lastly, we provide educational resources that really optimize for creation over consumption. And that is why we host events like this one today, to celebrate all the amazing projects that the community is creating and hopefully show what is possible without code. Now, for the interesting stuff. So we're going to be kicking off with a keynote from Vensi Krishna, who I'm proud to call a member of this community, and who's recently created an app with huge social impact in response to India's COVID-19 outbreak, serving 400k users. We will then kick the demos off, and after each demo has finished, please make sure to add your thoughts, your feedback, your ideas to the Jamboard, which I'm going to share in the chat now. So give me 2 secs. I'll just share that in a minute when I know how I can actually do that. And at the end of the event, I'll be sharing an exclusive discount to the 100 Days community, so stay tuned for that. And quickly, some Zoom etiquette. If you could all keep yourselves on mute, that would be astounding. So we can hear the speakers loud and clear when they're talking. And lastly, to give each project as much exposure as possible, please create some noise for each of these projects using, you guessed it, the 100 Days of No Code hashtag, and our Twitter handle 100 Days No Code. To get you started, please feel free to share this pre-populated tweet. So I'm going to share those resources while I stop sharing my screen and pass over to our first speaker of the night, and that is Vensi Krishna, who'll be talking about how no code can change the world.
Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. Thank you so much, Max, for inviting me. I was actually a member of the 100 Days community. I joined in January, and then I had my 100 days of learning until March. And then I actually presented at the third demo day, I think the last demo day, and where Janelle gave the keynote. So it's such an honor to be invited as the keynote speaker this time. And it's so lovely to see all of you. So let's get started with how no code can change the world. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Vensi. I'm actually a lawyer with a background in corporate law, but I've been an educator and entrepreneur since 2013. I've been doing no code full-time since January 2021, and I've done this no code fellowship at OnDeck along with Max and Dan here, and we were part of the first cohort there. And now I work on the candidates team at OnDeck, recruiting stars for all the programs that we're creating, building the future of education. And before I get to the world-changing powers of no code, I want to talk to you a little bit about the future, right? What is our place that is run in a world that is run increasingly by robots? We are witnessing unprecedented levels of automation across sectors such as finance, law, etc. And unlike other revolutions, such as the Industrial Revolution of the last century, machine learning separates this information revolution from the others, because for the first time, we have a tool that can learn and train itself to be better consistently. We're bewildered, we're excited about all of these new changes, but we're also anxious about what are we going to do? What is our role? What is our place in this new world? What is indeed the future of work? And what does work mean? And what does it mean to have a job? And how do you really find meaning? And how does tech help you in this journey of finding meaning and leading a good life? And technological revolution is so bewildering that it's so overwhelming. So we should probably start with asking smaller questions instead of these meta questions, which is to say, how do you use tech to solve your problems? I believe that there is a most essential skill of the future in a world that is increasingly dominated by technology. Every profession must learn to use tech and do better, or risk getting left behind by this incredible tide of progress. And a key feature in this information revolution is how quickly tech changes and disrupts industries, almost in a span of months. And therefore, the solution here is not to master the tech, but to learn to master it really quickly and adapt and evolve to the changes that are posed in this new world. So I believe that learning to learn is the most important and prized skill of our times. And you might be thinking, why am I talking about learning in a presentation about no code? Because I believe that no code is but the next phase of computer programming. I think that the history of computer programming so far has been a long march towards democratizing the language that we use to communicate with computers and tell them what we want from them. We started with computers that looked like this. And then when you thought about computers, you don't think about this anymore. And for probably those in my generation, this comes to mind, but it doesn't even look like that anymore, right? We associate processing power with something like this right now. And therefore, as computers changed, so did the language in which we started communicating with them. We started with punch cards, and there were a limited number of people who knew how to use them and how to make them work and how to talk to computers to perform these calculations that we needed them to. But then from punch cards, we evolved to a whole new series of abstractions. We invented the assembly language. IBM came up with Fortran, then C, Python, SQL, Java. And I believe that in this history, the next inevitable step is visual programming, otherwise known as no code. What used to look like this? Initially, it used to look like this as a punch card, and then it started looking like the picture on the left. But now that it looks like this, I believe that this is the inevitable future. Simple, clear, and more accessible to a number of people. Now, the no-code era, I think, needs very specific skills: curiosity, a thirst for efficiency, and open-mindedness, because you know where automation can be made possible and how to achieve it. And therefore, we need to learn how to learn better. And to complement this, we also need systems that identify and celebrate characteristics such as humility, the pursuit of continuous improvement, and the ability to get back up after falling down, because I believe that all of these are very no-code specific features, and I believe that this is a part of learning no-code. In short, we need to teach our children how to learn, and no-code should be included in the school curriculum so that our next generation actually has the tools necessary to start building on ideas. And really, this is probably the first prototype of a curriculum that is truly meant for entrepreneurs. Now, coming to the main topic of how no-code changes the world, I want to start with how no-code changed my life in the last 5 months. What no-code has given me is primarily, you can see I have so many ideas about what the future might look like. I have an understanding of my role in this new world and what I can do better as an educator, and how to empower students to empower themselves. Secondly, if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen how no-code has given me a new career path that helps me use my unique set of skills and bring it all together to offer unique solutions to the world. And finally, no-code has actually empowered me to make a difference. And this is what I want to focus on in the next couple of minutes. No-code has enabled me to make an impact at the community level, at the level of my profession, which is the legal profession, and also at the changing the world level. First, in February, I was able to launch a nautical themed Valentine's Day messenger at the community level with Ash and Wit, and Ash is actually here among the audience. We were able to launch this on Bubble to solve a very simple problem of bringing joy during Valentine's Day at the community level at On Deck. It took 2 days to ship this product. At the professional level, I was able to design and create this contract automation tool for legal aid to disrupt the legal industry in India. And it took one lawyer 1 weekend to come up with this tool. Then at the world level, when in April 2021, India's COVID surge has started, I was able to come up with a response to our national emergency by connecting suppliers of scarce resources to those in need, such as for oxygen, hospital beds, medicines, etc. And believe it or not, it actually took 2 hours to launch our first version. I want to talk to you a little bit more about this app called Hyderabad COVID Resources, how no-code was used in the time of a national emergency. The reason why I use no-code to ship this tool is because the first consideration was speed. During a national emergency, it's very important to come up with an answer very quickly that actually scales. And therefore, it was important to quickly design and ship version 1 so that we could reach more people in need. And that speed was only possible through a no-code tool. The second thing that was really important for me, and it was a personal ambition as well, was that the people on my team shouldn't have to wait for a coder or a tech team to come and solve the problem of updating the app for them, and that they should be able to do it on their own. So can volunteers update the app without having to wait for anyone? Is it decentralized? That was point number 2. And finally, the question of accessibility. Will this app load on all devices and without basically device agnostic? Will it work on computers? Will it work on Android phones? Will it work on iPhones, etc.? With the same clean UI, with the same page load speeds, etc. So with all of these, I decided to do it on Glide. And then not one of our 400,000 users actually had a problem with the scale. We never had a tech team. Really, all of us were the tech team to begin with. And we were able to provide real-time updates of life-saving resources. And we actually continue to do that. I'm sort of managing that with my full-time job at On Deck right now. So I want to talk to you about how no-code changes the world in 3 specific ways. The first thing is, as you already know, there's a rise of new careers. There's a new breed of developers and entrepreneurs that are coming up. And no-code is empowering all of them to come up with quick solutions that scale really well. The second thing is disruption at the sector level. It's disrupting industries such as finance and law, and empowering people to do their jobs better without having to wait for a CTO to come and build products for them. And thirdly, it is changing the very nature of ideas and work itself, because the idea person, when they're empowered with the ability to create, idea is not separate from action anymore. And one last reason why no code is important right now is because so far tech was limited in its ability to affect social change, because it was not a very good investment in terms of money, time, or effort. But because no code scales across all of those ways, people are able to launch socially impactful projects in the fraction of the time and money that used to take coders to actually build such products. Next, I want to talk to you about how you can change the world with no code. There's 3 ways that I think are important in this no code era. The first thing is, I think we need to learn how to learn. I think we need to be continuously learning and figuring out better ways of learning. Secondly, I think that as founding members of this community that is quickly growing really fast, I think that it's also important for us to teach other people around us on how to use these tools. We need to empower people to empower themselves and be a part of the revolution with us. And then finally, I think that we need to relentlessly pursue improvement, because when we identify problems quickly, we can solve them quickly and ship better solutions for our customers. In short, learn, teach, and grow continuously. And finally, how no code can change the world and how you can do it is start small, start at the individual level, start by changing your life and shipping products for yourself. Identify areas in your life that need answers, identify areas that need apps and probably finance trackers, etc., and change your own life. Next, aim a little bigger, change your community, affect change at your community level, at your profession level, help your colleagues do your job better, and ship solutions for your startup or your company. And then finally, aim much bigger and continuously aim to practice and learn more, and therefore shape your no-code muscle. And finally, you will be ready to change the world. So thank you so much. This concludes my presentation. I hand it over back to Max.
Thanks so much, Vensi. That was super inspiring. Yeah, a round of applause, please. Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you. Yeah, just kind of show the path for how we can create more impact is crucial. And I said it the other day in a tweet that social impact in no code is not something that I've seen a lot about. So I think these conversations are so important. So thank you for sharing like all that good stuff for us to take away and start actually creating impact on our own. So yeah, thank you so much. Now is the time to get into the demos, and I see Dan Perry grinning from ear to ear over there as he knows he's going to be up first, or he doesn't. I don't know. He does now. So I'd love to pass it over to you, Dan, who's going to be presenting an app, or sorry, a web app platform that he's built on Bubble. But I'll let him tell you more about that.
I just want to say thank you, Vensi, for inspiring me, firstly, on a very personal level, to actually learn Bubble. After seeing what you did on Valentine's Day, it made me go, okay, A, Vensi's a star, and B, like, I need to learn this. And yeah, for giving us such an inspiring talk as well. I think understanding that you can impact yourself and then your community and then the world is such a realistic step change, especially seeing as you've done it. So yeah, I want to be more like Vensi. So that's, yeah, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm going to do my demo. It's called Welos. Let's see if this actually works. Okay, Cool. So there are 8 billion people on the planet, approximately, give or take. There are also 8 billion people with mental health. 1 in 6 people in England report a common mental health problem like anxiety or depression in any given week. So, hello, I'm Dan, and I'm one of those people who likes to make things. I am a founder, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a creative, I'm a person. I've also had depression since I was 12, and I am insert age here, but it's been a long time. I even had a panic attack a few months back. And luckily, I was able to question my thoughts, listen to some classic 80s tunes, which always helps. And I had a shower, which also always helps. So I created a platform called Welos, an app that helps founders curate content to help them with their mental state. I thought if you had like little bits of bite-sized content, you'll be able to help yourself in those states. Version 1 and version 2 didn't really work. But I did give version 2 to a yoga instructor to test. And she loved it. She put all of her content on there. She just furiously updated it. She was finding bugs that I had never seen before. And I was like, oh, sounds like there's a thing there. So I delved a little deeper and discovered challenges that well-being professionals face. So physical well-being creators like yoga instructors are quite well served by technology. There are loads of apps and services that help them promote themselves. However, mental well-being creators are not that well served. And I always say that you should niche down or niche down, depending on what side of the world you're in. So in the whole kind of like space, there's like health things, and then there's physical well-being, then there's mental well-being, and then there's mental health professionals. So I decided to focus on mental health professionals. They have a wealth of knowledge and experience, which I have firsthand experienced, but they find it hard to generate revenue from their audiences and content. I actually found out that there are only 30,000 psychotherapists in the UK, and there are not 30,000 people in the UK. So, and actually I was doing some stats checks on their, how much money they make, and that's it, quote unquote. And especially for having a career where you are taking on a lot of people's challenges as well, it can be pretty difficult. And much like us, these professionals are also stressed out and burnt out. So Welos is a platform now that helps mental health professionals monetize mindfully. I want to help them divorce their time from their income so that they can help more humans. Yes, this is another creator economy startup, but focused predominantly on an area that I feel very passionate about. So a demo, and this is a live demo, so this may go wrong. So, but this is Welos. It's currently in beta. I built it in Bubble. Thanks, Vency. And it is a platform that allows a creator to have a profile. They can show where they are, all the links to their social profiles. They can have, people can subscribe to their content. And if they are not logged in, then they'll be prompted with a sign-up form. If they try to see some of the content, then they will also be prompted with a sign-up form. The little emoji here is something that I'm still working on, but it basically is based on how the content, depending on your emotional state, how that content will help you. And then this is what happens when you're logged in. This is, I'm logged into my own profile, but you can see the number of super fans that these individuals have. You can contact the creator personally. You can see this test data here, but you can see files here. And then if you press the see more, you'll be able to go into the content and see, let's see what happens here. and see the content in detail and be able to add and write content here for them to see. And also I have on another tab somewhere, let's see. Nope, not there, but there is a, all right, in fact, I might be able to show you because I'm logged in. Very bold of me to do a live test. But you can also show links. So a bit like Linktree, because what I noticed was a lot of wellbeing or creators in general are sharing links to platforms and their content elsewhere. So you can just have links to your data here as well. And yeah, let's go back to my presentation. Cool. So yeah, I said built entirely on Bubble. It's something that I didn't know about 3 months ago, and I kind of know it now. So what's next? So tagging the content. I want to make the content more searchable so that depending on a person's states of mind, they'll be able to find content that is more suitable for them and ideally more contextual. Subscriptions and payments to allow the creators to generate revenue and divorce their whole time for money thing. Videos so that these creators can reach more people, so live video. Events, unlike physical well-being instructors, so like yoga instructors, you've got the mental ones may not have as many events coming up, but yeah, hopefully they would. So yeah, events are coming up. Analytics, so they can understand what's working and what isn't. And then again, fan features to allow well-being fans to have a home of curated content from well-being professionals for them to be able to have a feed of good stuff in their lives. There are still 8 billion people on the planet, minus these aliens that I've put there. Can I build something that helps improve the world's mental health? I hope so. And yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that was perfect. those slides, I think everyone was just falling for them. Literally, they were just dreamy. So yeah, thanks so much. Where did you design those slides in?
Oh, so I'm using a tool called Projector. So Projector. Okay. So if you go to projector.com, it's a really good tool to be able to do slides. Nice. And yeah, so yeah.
Drop the link down. Drop your affiliate link.
I wish. I'll drop a link though.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Awesome. Thanks so much, Dan. That was incredible. Yeah, loved it. Okay, well, yeah, thanks again, Dan. And we'll now be moving on to our second demo of the evening from Kelly Klaus, who joined the community a couple of months ago. And I reached out to her saying, "Oh, it looks like you're building something pretty cool. Are you up for a demo?" And she replies to me pretty quickly, no, I'm not ready yet. But and kind of, I think a day later, she was reeled back in for some reason and took up the chance. So I know you've been working really hard on it, and I really appreciate all that sort of those late nights I hear you've been putting in to get it ready for this demo day. So thanks so much for that. But yeah, I'll pass over to you to share it with everyone today.
Well, yeah. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Yeah, right. Thanks a lot, Max. I got no sleep the past 2 weeks and I am currently terrified. So here we go. I don't know what's going to happen, you guys. Let's just go with it. What I'm building is a grant proposal language library for nonprofits and freelance grant writers. Is this in the way? Can you see all of your faces?
You're all good. All good.
Okay, great. Okay, so my name is Kelly. I am by trade, I'm a web designer and a graphic designer, brand strategy, all that kind of stuff. But for about 15 years, I worked in nonprofits. I was an operations director, which basically means I did everything, a lot of systems building, which now makes sense that I'm in no code. Learned design just because no one else was there to do it. And I managed a lot of stuff. One of my tasks was writing grants. It was not the focus of my job. It wasn't I didn't go to school for that or anything, but you just kind of do what is requested of you when you work in a small nonprofit. So that's what I did. It was by far the most frustrating part of my job, not because of the writing. The writing was fine. It's that the process of writing a grant is one of the most inefficient things on the planet. It's just super, super inefficient. So I know that probably most of you don't work in nonprofits, so I'll just kind of walk you through sort of how it works quickly. So let's say you have a nonprofit or you work for a nonprofit organization. Maybe you're tackling something like homelessness, right? So you have a program to try and tackle that issue and make the world better, right? But those programs always cost money. They cost lots and lots of money, and you have to raise that money. So the way that you raise that money is by writing grant proposals. That's one of the ways, the main way that most organizations raise money. So you write a grant proposal, maybe you get the grant, then you have the money. Maybe you don't get the grant, you have to write more grants. You end up writing lots and lots and lots of grants, like hundreds of grants. There are so many grants that you end up writing. But the problem is that you can't just submit the same grant proposal to every grant opportunity that exists. They're all like slightly different. So you have to rewrite the same language that you have written in the past. And that's where the problem comes in. So when you start writing a grant, what you do is you go back in all your files, you find proposals that you or someone else has written in the past, and then you copy all that language, you paste it in a new document, and you start writing the grant, right? That sounds easy. It's pretty easy if you were the one who wrote all of those grants because you remember what you did. But if you weren't the one who wrote all those grants, you end up sifting through just tons and tons of files, like hundreds of files. And where are the documents? What are they called? When did we do it? It's just a mess. It's a total mess. It's a nightmare. It takes hours and hours and hours to just start writing a grant, finding all that language. So what I am proposing and what I've built is a filterable catalog of that language that you have written in the past, which you can then pull from to start writing a new proposal. Exciting stuff, right? So this is something that I have been thinking about for years. I don't know, it's just, I don't work in nonprofits anymore. I'm not a grant writer. This is not my world, but I just feel like there should be a solution for this thing. There just must be. And so I'm making one. I have built this in Airtable. I've built it in Coda. I've built it in, oh, sorry, that was Notion. This is Coda. I've just built it many, many times and even had people like beta users using my Coda doc, and they all hated it. They wanted it. They all wanted this thing, but they all hated what I had built because there's no interface in any of those programs. And so they had to learn how to use the program, and then they had to and then they had to learn how to use my version of the program, what I had built in it. So it never worked. And so I scrapped that. And then I found Bubble. Bubble's the greatest thing on the planet. Everyone should learn Bubble. It's amazing. So I'm going to walk you through what I have built on Bubble. God help me. Because you guys, it's not done. But here we go. Okay. All right. So this is what you see when you first get into the system. You're going to see a dashboard that's got the projects that you are working on right now. You have to add these projects in there. I'm not going to show you that because it's boring and there's no reason to show you that. But these are the projects that you have, a bit of information about them. Over here, you have also the clients that you're working with. So, oh, I didn't say this. I interviewed a lot of grant writers about this, and I interviewed a lot of nonprofits, and they all told me to start with grant writers. So grant writers who are like freelance grant writers, meaning they work with several nonprofits and they're writing different proposals for all those nonprofits. So the way I built this is not for a nonprofit, it's for a freelance grant writer or an agency who is working with nonprofits. in theory, there would be a version of this that is for nonprofits to use internally, in which case they would not have a your clients page because they are the client. They're the only client, right? You also have funders. These are the people with the money. Funders publish opportunities, which is basically a grant that you're going to maybe apply for. So this is just information about the opportunity. And then in the system, you also have research. So when you're writing a grant, you have to back up that what you do is necessary and that it works, right? So in order to prove that it's necessary, you have to say there's a problem. You have to say, for example, kids who are in foster care typically do not go to college for all these reasons, whatever. So this research is basically like a study about your issue, whatever issue you're tackling. So we load that in here. You always use that in a grant application. So I just put it in the system so that you can access it, right? That's another thing that's like hard to find. So when you get in the system, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get into your project. So click on a project. This is a grant proposal that I'm going to write. So this is home for that project. You can select a different project if you want. Here are all the projects in your database, but we're just gonna stick with this one. So up here, you see this is the type of project. It's a proposal. The proposal's name, the name of the opportunity that you're applying for is the New Futures Grant. This is a shorthand for the funder that has that opportunity, the one you're asking money for. This is the client, Children's Aid Society. And this is when the year that this proposal is going to be submitted, okay? All right, you got a bit of information here, the status of the project, what needs to happen next. You have some details about the project, what program or initiative that you're trying to fund. I'm calling that initiative in the system, the amount of money that you're asking for, when it's due. The internal due date is a few days before the actual due date. Who's the lead author? I'm the lead author in this case. We have a title, a little bit of notes about, obviously this is dummy information, so you're gonna see lots of lorem ipsum. Some notes about the project, which program areas this project will fund. So in this case, foster care and children. You have the outcome of the project over here. We haven't submitted this grant yet, so we haven't been notified whether we've gotten the grant, but you can, once you find out, then you can log your outcome of the project. And then this is about the opportunity itself. This is the thing that the funder has published and said, we have money, do you want it? Write us a proposal. So the funder is the Annie E. Casey Foundation. Here's when it's due. These are the program areas. Funders always have like, we fund programs for animal welfare. We fund programs for foster care. So you would be able to filter opportunities by the program area and find opportunities to apply for your clients, in theory. Title, some notes, and this is the guidelines. So funders will publish a document, usually like a PDF or Word document, that has the guidelines. Here's who can apply for this. Here's what the money can go toward. And here are questions that you have to answer in your proposal. A grant proposal is just a collection of questions that you have written answers to. That's it. It's just a big, long document full of answers. So down here, this is the meat of the program, or this program. These are the language items that you have to write to make up this proposal. So when they publish the grant guidelines, it's going to list questions. Number 1, what's your mission? Number 2, tell us about your organizational history. Number 3, give us a summary of this proposal, on and on and on, right? These are standard questions that are in every single grant proposal ever. So these are pretty standard questions, and these would come preloaded in the system, but then you would attach them to your project so that you know to answer them. So at this point, you would click on this button. I'm not going to do that though, because it doesn't work. So I'm going to go over here. I haven't quite figured out some of the sending data stuff in Bubble. So when you get to pull reference language, so pulling reference language is looking back at old language that you've written and attaching it to this new proposal, okay? So the first thing you're asked is which project are you working on? Right now, we only have one project that is in the status. It doesn't matter, we're gonna click on this project. So here we go. When you first get to this page, the first time, can you guys see that? You're going to be walked through what to do, like an onboarding thing, right? So the first thing is you have to select the language item that you're writing. So click on this, you see a drop down. These are all the questions that you have to answer, okay? You can see over here on the right, get faces out of the way. You can see over here on the right, these questions you have already collected language for, the ones with the check marks, but the other ones you need to collect language for. So we're gonna do population and need. So this is basically like who you serve, who are the people that you are serving, right? So we've got that. If there was reference language that we'd already pulled, it would show up here, but we don't have any yet. So the second, oh, that's weird. See, everything goes wrong. Oh, there we go. All right. So the second thing you're doing is you're selecting the filters. So there are several filters that you can filter the language by. We are just going to use the topic. So here are all your topics that are in the system. Language question topics, right? What's your mission? Tell us about your budget, etc. So this is the topic of the question that we're pulling language for, population need. So we're going to look at population. So if you click on population, now any population language in the system is going to show up right here. So this is all your population language. We have 2 of these showing, right? So this one is Children's Aid Society. It's the same organization. This was last year's proposal, or 2 years ago's proposal for this same grant, right? So what you do is you're going to see submitted language. This is what was actually submitted to the funder the last time that you did this, right? This is language that you wrote, but you didn't actually use. But it's a place to sort of keep that because it's useful, right? So what you do is you select the language that you want. You hit the plus sign, it shows up. And now it's in your reference language that you can use later on. Let's say you just want this sentence here. Got it. Okay. It's added and now it's down here, right? Let's say we want that one. Great. Okay, cool. So now we've got a bunch of language for the population question and we're going to move on to the next question, right? We're not actually going to do that, but let's pretend. Okay, great, great, great. And now you're going to pull research, right? So the research is, remember those items from the beginning over here, you're going to pull research that you need in order to back up what you do, okay? So this would have another walkthrough thing, but I've said it so that it's not going to show you all that. So the first thing you're going to do, and it's got a little bit of like just a reminder what to do when you get here, right? First thing is you select the language item. So we're going to do population again. Okay, there's no research attached yet. And then over here, we're going to select the program area. So I know that this grant proposal is for foster care, right? That's what we're dealing with here. So I'm looking for research that's related to foster care. So I select that program area and boom, here we go. Here is our research that we had previously loaded into the system for a study about foster care. So I can see there's like statistics, things like that. When I added this in, I pulled out useful statistics and stuff from that report and put it into this field, right? And then this is automatically, the citation text is automatic. So let's say I want to open this in a new window and check it out. I can do that by clicking here. But if I just want to, if I know this is useful, I know I use this one all the time for different proposals, I just click the plus and now it adds it to that question. It attaches the research to that question. I can remove it easily. There you go. It also is going to add all of this, these statistics and the citation text to that question's reference language. So it's all in there in one thing, okay? So great, that part's done, easy. So now we go on to the full reference language. So this is sort of like what you were looking for. Here we go. This is what you were trying to get in the first place. It was all you needed, right? This is your entire proposal and all of the reference language that you've collected in that whole process. Every one of the questions, all of the reference language, and this is sort of means you pulled it from a different place, right? It's separating all of them. And let's see if it worked. Population, so we've got all of the reference language, and here is that research that we just attached. So everything's in there, great. We got our whole proposal, and now, and this is all your research that's attached and which question it's attached to. You can view it if you want to. And now you're going to export the language. So this, I don't know, Bubble hasn't really caught up, or I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do this, but I haven't figured it out yet. So basically, this is more of a plain text kind of version of what's down here without all the stuff. And I'm just going to select it, copy it, and put it into Google Docs or Word or whatever, right? So just copy that, put it in Word. And now I write my proposal. I leave the system, I go write my proposal, I'm done. I write it, I submit it to the funder, right? Once I'm done, I have to now add that final language to the system. I'm almost done, which is over here. So add the final language. Let's see if this works. Okay, cool. So I'm adding it for the Casey proposal, and it's going to pull up all of the questions that were in that proposal. And you have 3 fields: the submitted language, where you're going to paste what you actually, the finished stuff that you wrote, you're going to put it in here. Any unused but useful language, you're going to put it in here. And then if there's reference language, you don't need it anymore. So you're going to delete it. You just hit delete, it's gone, right? It exists in the system elsewhere, but you don't need it here. You're never going to use it again. So you just delete it to kind of free up space. You load it all in there, easy peasy, and you're done. You get to the end, you've added all your language, you change the project status to say this is a closed project, and then it congratulates you, and you're done. And I'm done. That's what I made. I don't know.
Brilliant.
What has gone on here? Literally, this is outrageous, Kelly. This is insane.
It's way bigger than I expected it to be, but I'm learning Bubble. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think you're learning Bubble anymore. I think you'll be teaching. You should be teaching, literally. Oh my gosh! Please do 2 things. Check the chat, because people have just been going mad for you in there. And then secondly, check your Jamboard as well, because there's some very well deserved, what planet are we on? Very well said. Very well said, Jack.
Max, when can we ask questions?
Was that? Yeah,
when can we ask questions? Do we have time for that?
Sure, go for it. Dive in.
Just about design.
Time for one, and then we'll jump on to Dominic's stuff.
Kelly, quick question about the design. Fantastic stuff. Where did you design this before you brought them into Bubble, or did you just design it in Bubble?
Oh no, yeah, Figma. I use Figma, so I designed every page in Figma, and it looked exactly like it.
And did you import it with a plugin, or did you just use that for visual?
No, I didn't even know you could do that. No, I just built it. I have a page in here that's like just a bunch of crap page where I just built every module that I might need, every item, and just put it all on one page. And then I copied and pasted it throughout the app so that it all was consistent.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, got it.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thanks so much, Kelly. Blowing away, definitely. Cool. Let's move on to Dominic for our third demo of the event. So you've just popped up, Dominic. All yours. I'll let you start sharing your screen.
Yeah, so before we even start, I need people to lower their expectations. No amazing bubble work here, but if you was on the call, I guess, Max, I don't know when I last presented. Maybe
2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
There's actually been a lot of progress and a lot of interesting stuff. I've done some interesting stuff that I thought, it'll be worth sharing. So for those that don't know, on April, and it's the craziest story for me. You know, we talk about building in public a lot. I didn't build this in public. Like, I built this in 2 days, didn't show no one, launched it on April the 16th, and it went viral overnight. And I build a lot of things in public, and most of you will know I build a lot of things. Some things get, you know, some people like it, but this, like, a lot of people liked it. I have a community of like 300 people on WhatsApp now that are like actively engaging and building networks. This platform curates missing people cases within the Black community. In the UK, Black people are 4 times more likely to go missing. 60% of those people, not just Black people, are aged between 12 and 17, which is especially alarming. And what the site does was curating the cases. So most recently, it's been featured in all these kind of like popular news outlets in the UK, was on the BBC yesterday. A lot of the BBC and the big news networks message me every day about this. But some interesting things. So one of the things that I do want to share is let's find it, is the Contact Your MP. So I thought this was particularly interesting. Like, this might be just me being a nerd, but what I've done is I made it really easy for people to contact their local representatives. So they can find their local representatives with the native search in Softer. But when you click email now, and I hope this works, so it actually opens the email, and it opens it's all preloaded. All they have to do is insert their name and insert their name at the bottom, and that's it. And it's made it really, really easy for people to contact their local representatives. And I share this particular feature because that can be done for anything, for environmental causes, for, you know, human rights causes, you know, there's tons of social causes. And if you make it as easy as this for people to contact their local representatives, and you use no code to do the heavy lifting, it's actually really easy for people to engage. People are not going to sit there, look for the email, their local representative, and they're not going to write the email, but they're going to click the button, write their name, click send. And people have been doing that. And there's actually conversations now with local MPs based around this that has been triggered by this platform, which is like, it's crazy to me, but it's cool too. Other things that's kind of interesting, and Vency was helping. Well, I used Vency's template initially, but I kind of adapted it since because it was hard for people over here. So if we go to learn, this actually takes you, as you can see, there's a subdomain here, and this is Notion. So for my volunteer management, I'm actually using Notion at a subdomain. And generally the question people ask is, how can I help? And I'm sure Vency and some of the others understand that. And initially I had this whole like complex setup, but now it's like, how can you help? Number 1, sign the petition. Number 2, number 3, and I kind of list it out really, really clear for people to help people how to help. But also I'm going to be using Notion, especially with this kind of API that they have, to manage volunteers. And that's something I can't do as effectively in Softer. There was one more feature. Oh yeah, the donate feature. So I have, let me actually sign out. I'm not sure if people have seen the membership feature inside Softer, but Softer has a membership feature native. And what you can see here, I'm signed out. You can see the sign up, sign in page. But when I actually sign in, and actually before I sign in, if I click donate, you can see initiatives, but you shouldn't be able to see all of this, but you can. So when I sign in, you get additional information, you get a public ledger. So you can actually see, and this is using Zapier, this is using Stripe. Anytime someone donates, you can see the donations coming in, but also it's connected to the bank account coming out. So you can see what I spend money on from the donations and when. And I wanted to do that for transparency, especially with a lot of social courses, especially recently, there's been issues with transparency. And I was like, look, let me just show everybody the books. And this is kind of, blockchain tries to attempt that, right? But I was like, you don't need no complex technology. You just need to be transparent about what's coming in, what's coming out. So I use Zapier, I use Stripe to make that really, really efficient. I have QuickBooks, and that's what tracks what's going out. I haven't spent money on anything, so you won't be able to see anything right now. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it for. There's no other like cool updates.
And is there? Yeah, thanks so much for this. Come on a lot, and I love your kind of organic approach of like adding features just in time, or like just as you think of them. Because you're just moving and just adding them. Like there's no big plan, there's no like big grand vision. It's just like adding things slowly, incrementally, and I think that's really, really really good stuff, because you're just tackling problems when you see them. So yeah, big creds on that front. And Dominic, is there any way we can kind of help spread the word on this front? How can we go about kind of amplifying this?
I mean, probably just sharing the site, sharing if you're in the UK, if we go to resources, if you're in the UK, you can sign the petition. People have signed a petition and discovered the petition through the site. It has the petition here, but you have to sign it on the government website. And it has, let's see how many signatures it has now. It has 17,000 signatures now. At 10,000, the government's meant to respond. At 100,000, they're meant to debate the issue. So like, I remember saying to my girlfriend that like, it was at like, I think it was at 800. And I was saying to my girlfriend, oh, hopefully next month it'll be at 1,000. And in like a week's time, it was at like 8,000. And yeah, so that was crazy too. Especially, I haven't done no crazy publicity about it. A lot of it has been organic. And I guess this is, and a lot of you see some of my projects, some of them are really cool. But this has had a lot of pull from people. And I think most of it was out of my control. Like it's how events lined up. And I think that's kind of how, at least for this particular project, that's how it worked. And I really can't emphasize enough that I did very little. I was just like, timing was almost impeccable.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing this, Dominic. Really inspiring as always. Cool. Certainly, we're kind of getting to the last demo now. So Vijay, it'd be good if you could kind of share your screen and take it away.
Sure. Just a word of caution, I should have burnt my slides and Bubble app long before even Dominic started presentation, but I'm still going ahead with it. The tool that I built is called Eat Asana. What I've done is automated a lot of the kitchen administration stuff for home caterers or home chefs, as we call them. And very briefly, my name is Vijay, and I am a no-code maker at heart. I know how to write code, but no code has helped me launch products. Code hasn't. And currently I'm building Eat Asana. And previously I've built DinoStar app, which was an app where you could reward kids for building good habits and all that stuff. It was a platform where you could give them virtual stickers. It miraculously didn't work out as well as I thought it would. It failed badly. And here I'm building the next one. I learned Bubble after my previous one failed. I spent time learning design with Bubble and stuff. And then I also built up a few portals for clients, and that's my Twitter handle if you would love to follow. So very briefly, I just want to talk about the background about home caterers, because we don't necessarily know precisely what home caterers do or what they actually deal with. So the first thing that they do is they create a menu of whatever cuisine they want to make. They publish the menu, they put it in a multiple platforms where people can look at the menu, place orders. They collect all the pre-orders, as they call it. And once all these orders come in, they look at the inventory that they need, how much to purchase of X, Y, Z. And then when the time is right, they cook the food and the customers come pick up on the pre-agreed time. So this is sort of a very high level of what the home caterers do as a business. And surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, during COVID, a lot of hotels shut down, and a lot of the chefs working there, who are pretty much neighbors and people in the community around me, started their own home catering services. So predominantly on Thursday, they'd have a menu, on a Saturday or a Sunday. So each caterer would have different varieties of menus and stuff. So that was going really well here. But one thing I noticed was they didn't have a proper system or a centralized system to, manage the menus that they're creating, accept the orders, or automate a lot of these things. So the workflow here is pretty much they create a menu, they create a poster, they share it on social media, and once it is shared, here is where the trouble starts. They get the orders through WhatsApp, SMS, or they have Google Forms where few people order through Google Sheets, where the data is collected into Google Sheets. So there is a whole bunch of sources where they can place the orders. And if they have not received an order, or if they have not checked their Facebook Messenger for some reason, there is a very good chance that they don't accept orders. So this, when you look at it, data is just in a dumb Google spreadsheet, where they then have to use a lot of formulas that they custom build to sort, to find out how many of X item they'd have to cook and all that. So a lot of this processing was happening manually. And obviously we can't automate cooking the food. That is still left to them to do it manually. But the bigger pain point is things that happen when they collect the food. They'd have to either accept cash, which is what most of them do, because there is a transaction cost which eats into their business already. So they collect cash, or they accept Venmo, or very rarely PayPal and stuff. Venmo is predominantly in the US markets. But then there have been issues where people order and then they forget that they've ordered, they don't show up, or there are fake orders coming in through the system as well. And if there is a delay in cooking the food, there's a big trouble now for them to communicate back to all the people in all these platforms that they accepted order in. So that is one big problem. So this was a problem that I was noticing right in the neighborhood. And then I was like, all right, let's build something which would automate the heavy lifting stuff for the admin side of cooking. So once they are able to define the menu for that week, I've been able to automatically create a poster for the menu and share it to all the social media platforms. And that would also have a URL, which is the app front end that I created to place the order and receive the order in the Bubble app that I created. So what this has helped them do is expose multiple menus at the same time: Thursday menu, Friday menu, Saturday, Sunday, and then the orders would go into the right buckets. Previously, they had to double confirm if everything was being ordered for the day that they're actually meaning. So that has been one big time saver, and the allergen information and the ingredients planning has sort of now become automated based on the number of orders that they get for any item. So that is happening. And in the next phase is where we collect the pre-orders, right? So we are able to now automatically send out order confirmation emails. And a bigger challenge was for the caterer to put an sold out notice when they hit the right number for every item that they have in the inventory. So they'd have to constantly sit next to the phone or a laptop and then monitor the orders coming in. And 30 minutes, if they're away from the computer, the order volume goes beyond their capacity. So they are either scampering for more inventory, or they are having to call customers and say, sorry, we can't take care of your order. So that is being taken care of. And I'm still building this, but then the idea is to also have an option to collect payments at checkout, but then the option to collect or to pay by cash during collection is always going to be there. And the added advantage of having payment reminders sent to them if they've not already paid. And collecting reviews previously did not happen. So it was all in WhatsApp groups where they said, oh, the food was fantastic. It lived and it died there. So now bringing all that information back into reviews has been beneficial for the caterers. And printing the receipts when they're collecting the food, although seems like a simple problem, but then if you have 50 orders, you would have to now write down 50 stickers and then put it on the food saying this is for this person, and then you would have to create an inventory for that. So that has been a bigger challenge for them. And what I've also built is a user reward. If you place 100 points worth of food, you get discount coupons from the caterer themselves. So this is just being able to complete the loop of placing order and getting the reward cycle for that. Cool. Let me quickly share a demo. Cool. So this is where all the menus of all the all the caterers will be available. Currently, I have one active menu from one caterer. So they're called Batter Half. They basically manufacture batter for a lot of Indian Indian crepes and Indian pancakes, as you can see the pictures here. But what we have been able to do is now give them highlighted reviews from the customers that have come in, and any information that is related to their checkout. So this caterer also does delivery, so we are able to support delivery as well in the process. So this is the interface where you can now add items to the cart. Simple, restaurant stuff. Once you've added items to the cart, you can check out and you can pick a delivery slot which the caterer is provided. And so the math now is every pound that you spend here, you get a point back. So once you hit 100, caterers can then start giving discount codes and stuff. So hopefully this order goes through, and then this. Cool. So now the customer would have received an email with the order information and also the payment information of the caterer if they would like to do a bank transfer, which is the workflow for now. To quickly look at the admin side of things, I'm yet to build the dashboard. I'm still picking up the KPIs that a caterer would love to track on dashboard, but here is where the orders would have come through. So this is currently the order that I placed. Nothing fancy here, but you can send confirmation emails again if you want, or you could send payment reminders if they've not paid, which is what here indicates. You can update the payment status to cash on delivery, or if you have received a bank transfer from them, you would basically give a date on which you, let's say, received the bank transfer, and the status updates real time there. You could filter by the menu that this current caterer is doing, or you could go into the menu and create new menus as well if you want to. Here is the date for the menu, and you can set the order count that you want for this menu. When it hits 40, it automatically marks itself as sold out. And here are the list of items that are available from this caterer, so they can update it anytime that they want to. And if there is delivery available, then they can mark it here. Currently, this caterer does. And these are the delivery slots that we saw on the front end. So that is the menu. And every menu has a whole bunch of menu items, which we just saw. So you could add menu items. And here are the ingredients that go into this menu item. And I don't want to mess around with this caterers, but yeah, this was an interesting project on its own to get the data for all the ingredients that are available. All the English-speaking countries and all the Western food that we call had huge sets of data that was available for download, but then there are a whole bunch of Indian ingredients that go into cooking and stuff that was very hard to find. And I was able to luckily find it. So we were able to bring that as well into the ingredients dashboard here. And I'm yet to build the social part, which would now automate your menu sharing to the platforms. But here is a progressive view of the menu that I created. So this is created using an API where the right-hand side, the lines that you see is the placeholder for an image. On the left is where the menu goes. And here is a fully formed version of that, where you can now define the template for images that you want to send. And once you create a menu, it would automatically generate this poster for you. And once you're ready, it would push it out to all the social media platforms that you want to. So here is another variant where you could fiddle around with colors and images and all that stuff. So this sort of helps the caterers. Yeah, and settings is where I want to build the stuff where they can automate things or put in the settings for automation. Like how frequently do you want to send payment reminders? What is the language that you want to use and all that stuff that would go into this. Now back to the presentation. Let me see if yep. So the tools that I used are Bubble, Integromat, Placid, Doric. I'm forgetting the names of a couple of other tools that I used, but this has sort of been the palette. And so what I'm working on next is to be able to export data, to build a dashboard, onboard customers, and then do a little bit of marketing, which is a nerve-wracking exercise for me to market and to be on social media to communicate about all this, but we'd have to do it. And currently I'm working with a lot of stuff in Bubble. So this is what I need help with. Currently looking at nested loops, nested for loops in Bubble, and exporting data in a PDF template. Although there are plugins that are available, but then they are not super straightforward. But if someone has used them, feel free to Slack, ping me and on Twitter or anywhere. That'll be really helpful. Thank you all for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, a round of applause. Yeah, that was gosh, why? How comes everyone is so good at Bubble? Sorry, like that's just crazy. But yeah, you didn't have anything to worry about there, VJ. Yeah, you were putting yourself down before, but no, that was a damn good presentation. And you obviously got some mad skills in in Bubble that we can all learn from. So thank you for sharing that. That's really cool, and the really interesting like problem analysis as well. So thank you for taking us through that. You're definitely solving a big problem there. Cool. So that kind of rounds things off really. I've got a few things to like close us out, which I'll run for you now, but yeah, just still in like awe of everyone's what everyone has been making and building tonight. And there's been no intention to do it that way, but there's definitely been like a recurring theme of impact throughout like all the presentations, which has been really nice. Yeah, I did not plan that in advance, but it's a really nice like red thread that everyone is creating there. So just to close this out, I'm going to be adding each of these projects to our website. We'll be uploading the recording for this in the next couple of days. So you can kind of check it out if you want to look back on these demos or share it with any friends. Our next demo is going to be on the 2nd of September, so that every quarter. And if you're looking to sort of learn to no code yourself or soft launch your own businesses without code at our next demo day, or you just want to be part of the community, I will slap a discount code into the chat that you can take advantage of, which is 20% lifetime discount on membership, if that is of interest. Let me just chuck that in now on any products that we have as well. So yeah, feel free to use if that's of interest. And now I'm wrapping up slowly, but yeah, now I just want to say a few thank yous. Firstly to Vency for kicking us off in style and with a lot of impact and inspiration. Of course, to our demoers for showcasing their really, really cool and magic like projects, and of course all of you guys that have come today to support, so thank you for that. And if you enjoyed today's event, any love on social media or sharing in your networks for the projects that were on show or for 100 Days of No Code will be greatly appreciated. So that would be epic. And any feedback for next time, so I can tweak this event format so it's better, then just let me know. And yeah, please feel free to check your handles in the chat, so we can all kind of connect with each other, and yeah, speak to each other offline on Twitter as well. But that's it from me. Thank you all again, and hope to see you at the next one. Have great evenings, guys. Yeah.
Great work, Max, as well.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, cheers, guys. Yeah, have a good one.
Thank you,
Bye,
Max.
bye. Bye. No, thank you. Bye.